It's early in the season. I know that. But I noticed something yesterday, and I thought, well, I'll do something on that tomorrow. And I had to restrict this list. So, 10 guys who I'm kind of surprised to see still have 0 points so far this season. And in order to make this list, your team had to play 3 or more games. So if your team played 2, played 1, move on because he's not on this list. If he only played 1 or 2 games, he's not on this list. So anybody looking for Yager, move along. Yager's only played 1 game. And lay off Yager. He's, he's going to take a while to get into the swing of things again. He's playing in Calgary. I don't care. So number 10 on the list, speaking of Calgary, Sam Bennett. I had really expected Bennett to come in this year and just assert himself offensively, and to this point, he's packing a 0 on his points list. Not probably what a lot of people were hoping for with Bennett. Number 9, New York Rangers, Jimmy Vesey. Vesey for me is one of those cautionary tales that if you're putting all your eggs into the basket of a college free agent, a guy who can't reach a deal with his team, you may get a gem, you may not. Offensively, VC hasn't been there, and I haven't watched enough Rangers games to know where the rest of his all-around game is, but so far this year he's packing a giant goose egg. Number 8, and this would have been a lot higher, but Jonathan Marchessault is playing for Vegas, and he's not James Neal, so he's not allowed to score goals, but he does have 0 points. And you have to wonder if Marchessault has a really down year offensively, how's that going to affect him going into negotiations for a new contract? Will his agent argue, well, he was on an expansion team, or will Vegas be able to say, can't give him a raise based on these totals? So right now, Marchessault's batting 0. Number 7, Brandon Dubinsky. Dubinsky's not a big scorer. He's not. And he hasn't been for a long time. And yet, I'm surprised to see a 0 next to his name. Just personally, I'm surprised. Speaking of which, at number 6, what's going on with Rick Nash? I don't know where this is going to end up, but if the Rangers continue to play badly, if the record goes south, and if Nash continues to not score, you have to think a divorce between the team and the player is coming sooner rather than later. I understand he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. They may want to get some value back for him before then, especially if the team's, I don't know, in the tank. We're down to 5, right? I always wonder when I do these lists and I have these cards. I'm like, all right, do I have 10? I think I have 10. And then I end up I have 11 or maybe 20 or never know. Number 5, Sam Reinhart. Talked about him towards Buffalo fans just a couple days ago. I'm surprised that he hasn't scored. I'm almost as surprised by Reinhart not scoring yet as I am with Galchenyuk, who comes in at number 4. Galchenyuk and Reinhart, it's the same thing. All summer I read about how both of them were underachieving, and I kept looking at their stats and saying, well, I don't know about underachieving. Reinhart had made small advances, probably not what people wanted, and Galchenyuk points per game was higher than the year before. So going into this season, I had expected both to do well, and early on, they're both packing a 0. So to me, that's a mild surprise. Number 3, Gustav Nyquist of the Detroit Red Wings. There were a few 0s on the Red Wings, and I can almost understand it, but they're paying Nyquist a big, nice, hefty amount. And for him to be packing a 0 points-wise, yeah, I know it's early, and people are going to say, it's too early. You know how many seasons I've watched guys have slow starts, and then they just have a slow season? I've never said anything about it until this very year. Number 2, Mike Hoffman of the Ottawa Senators. Not probably his fault. I know Markstrom played very well against Ottawa, and their other 2 games went to shootouts as well. They haven't been in high-scoring games, but seeing a 0 next to Hoffman's name is a surprise. And number 1 on the list, I'm going back to Buffalo, Kyle Okposo. Okposo had a very good season last year for Buffalo. He did. Okposo was really solid for them, and to see a 0 next to his name is surprising. Everybody wants to talk about Eichel and oh, look at his point totals. You are only as good as the team around you unless you're Connor McDavid, in which case you can just put the whole team on your back and fly through center ice and score. But yeah, I mean, Buffalo's got some issues in basically every area of the game right now. And so seeing 0s beside certain players' names is a surprise to me. How long will they remain there? How many of these guys get off the snide night? Which one of these 10 players is going to carry a 0 the longest? Let me know in the comments section below. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And thank you so much for watching. Let me know your surprise 0s in the comments section below as well. I'll talk to you again soon.